Welcome to Let's Start a Business, where ambition meets action. Hosted by McDonell, this show brings real stories and strategic insights from founders and entrepreneurs building from the ground up. This is Let's Start a Business.
Thanks so much, Jasmine, for joining this session of the founder series of Let's Start a Business. You are the founder of Empowered Living. Thank you so much for joining today's session.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Megan. It's such an honor to be here and to get to just share my journey.
So can you tell us a little bit about what Empowered Living is and how you kind of got started?
Yeah, so Empowered Living is kind of the umbrella of my coaching practice. So with Empowered Living, I just help ambitious individuals unlearn kind of like that performance-based worth, deal with burnout, hyper-independence, any sort of people-pleasing so that they can then discover who they truly are when they're not performing for anybody else. So Empowered Living is kind of like a community I've created to help some of those ambitious individuals.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. So what was the inspiration of creating Empowered Living?
Mm-hmm. So it really started 2.5-3 years ago when I was in sales. So I had started my journey in sales and I kind of fell into that, trap of, well, maybe if I work harder, things will be different. Maybe if I show up, what if I lead by example, if I go the extra mile and I put in all of this effort, then they will see me and then I'll be enough. And the environment that I had was very, very toxic. And there was a lot of policies that weren't followed and a lot of things that were swept under the rug. And so I thought that, well, maybe I can fix it. So I took on that responsibility and I gave and I gave and I gave until one day I just couldn't. The owner had said, moving forward, everything's going to be different. You guys are going to focus on sales. It's going to be good. And this is going to stop. No more back and forth with each other. It's done. And so I had said, well, what if it's not? What if everything still continues to happen the way it is? Then what are the consequences? And in front of the entire team, he said, it's not my problem. I don't want to deal with it. You deserve to get treated that way. And that's that. If you don't like it, leave. And so that's exactly what I did. I took a 3-month leave. I found a life coach and I just absolutely fell in love with the process and the idea of coaching people and especially helping people who had maybe fallen into the same trap as me. So I think that was such a pivotal point in my life where I just needed to change and to get that life coach. And then I enrolled in life coaching, like a IPEC.
Yeah.
And I never looked back and it's just been growing ever since.
That's awesome. So how long has, let's talk about the early days. So getting started, what were kind of like the painful moments and like oh crap, what am I going to do? What were those kind of situations?
Oh yeah, definitely had quite a few of those moments because when you're trying something new, it's so uncertain and there's so much fear that lingers and there's so many stories we tell ourselves like, oh, I'm not enough, I can't do this, or like why do I think I could do this, right? So in the early days it was very ever so changing. I started from scratch. So one thought led to another and another. And it was just kind of like planting a seed and just watering it and just waiting. And so a lot of things just kept changing. My message changed, my niche changed, my, confidence in myself was changing. So I think in the early days when I was still kind of trying to figure out what this was and what it could be, there was a lot of lot of fear, and I wasn't sure exactly where to go. And it was just a lot of telling myself to keep going and to just not stop. And eventually it'll click. I'll have that aha moment where everything starts to fall into place. But until then, I just got to keep going.
Nice. What were some of the systems that you are that really helped you out getting started?
The biggest thing, and it's really funny, but the biggest thing was pen and paper. That was something I could strategically just plan everything out, just go to the basics, nothing fancy, pen and paper, and just organize my thoughts, what I wanted, what I knew I didn't want. And so that was the very first thing that I utilized. And then after that, some other systems, really, Zoom, utilizing that, and utilizing my social media platforms as well, and to kind of get the word out, and just trying to find systems that really structured anything to do with business. I leaned a little bit on ChatGPT, so I kind of used it as a mentor. If I had any pressing questions and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, I went to ChatGPT and I asked, and I was like, okay, all right, I'll trust it. And so I kind of leaned into that to help with the structure. And then I utilized a lot of self-development, personal development, wellness things as well. So Mastermind or Masterclass, I downloaded that. I watched a bunch of master classes on business development and leadership, and finding that authenticity and how to lead with you and your purpose. And really thought, well, I don't really know what this looks like or what this is, but I do know that if I learn, I will then know. So I really focused on just learning as much as I could to then get a better idea of what I could do.
There's so many things out there. There's YouTube, there's, like you said, Masterclass. What kind of if somebody was starting fresh and they're like, hey, I want to do a business, how would you advise that person to focus on the different platforms that are out there, and just kind of getting really centered in what they want to do?
Oh, that's such a good question. If I could help somebody that was getting started and kind of guide them a little bit, first I would say, just take a step back first. You have all of this that you want to do. You have all of these ideas. You have all of this chaos of you could do this and that and this and that, and you could focus on this and that. Just take a step back, breathe, and pick one path first. Don't try to do 15. Just pick one, because if you try to do too many at once, you're going to burn yourself out, overwhelm yourself, and then you're going to fall into that trap of becoming stuck. So really focus on, what do you know works best for you? Do you like to kind of have that class structure with, a master class? Take notes. Do you learn that way? Do you learn through podcasts? Do you learn through more YouTube? Do you read books? Find the content that resonates with you and lean into that, and focus on maybe one or two areas that you want to work on to start out with. What is the most important thing that you need to do right now? We often get caught in the traps of perfection. So, the logistics, what about taxes? What about this and that? And but you gotta hone into the actual content first. The logistics, that's actually the easy part, but that's not the most important part. It's the content. So you gotta focus on, building that foundation before you can think about the other stuff. Yeah. So really, I would just say, pick the most fundamental foundational piece that you need to focus on right now and that you really want to focus on, and lean into that, and then find your content that best resonates with you, whether, like I said, it's books or podcasts or masterclass or YouTube, and then just really focus on the content that resonates with you and your why.
Yeah, I totally get that because it's like it's almost like you go down a rabbit hole. I know when I first got started, I mean, it was anything and everything that I thought, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I mean, I had tried starting my business a couple different times, and it wasn't until I actually got that focus that things started to happen. So yeah, totally agree with, like, get that what resonates with you content wise, and then getting down to the very specifics and not trying to get everything across the board.
Absolutely.
So what have been, like, I think this is such a huge one, but how have you struggled with imposter syndrome, and how have you kind of moved through that? I think everybody feels that. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just, it's always that voice in the back of your head.
100%. I am no exception. I have battled several times with imposter syndrome throughout this entire journey. And I really had to realize that to master something, you need to first be able to fail, and you need to be able to start. And, kind of the idea that when you first start working out, you don't feel strong. You feel weak. But it's through that weakness that you feel that strength grows. And to be strong, you have to first be weak. So if you don't focus on just feeling that weakness and pushing through it and keep going, you will never feel what that strength feels like. So I really sat with that and was like, okay, this is what hard feels like. This is exactly what it needs to feel like. I'm stretching myself. I'm doing things I've never done before. Of course I'm going to feel uncomfortable. Of course I'm not going to be confident. I'm beginning, and that's beautiful. So I really had to celebrate myself and celebrate those little wins and go, progress is progress, and to not stop. In order to get where I want to be, I have to first begin. And there was a lot of things that came up of like, oh, who's going to listen to you? Back in sales, I had the belief that because I was so young, people wouldn't take me seriously. Who's going to take a 20-something-year-old seriously? And so that was an insecurity that I really leaned into for a lot of my career, and in the beginning of this process as well. And so I really had to, tell myself that it's not about anything other than my experience and the knowledge that I bring, and that I can do this. And I truly believe that I am limitless. So when those thoughts come up of, oh, you can't do this. What happens if this business doesn't take off? What if, your family and your friends, everyone who told you that, this is it's like a hobby, but when are you going to get a real job? What happens if they're all right and this doesn't work? But then I also realize, what if it does? What if this is even bigger and more beautiful than I ever could have imagined? Then what? So if I stop, I'll never know what it could have been. And why stop, right? It's going to be hard to stop, and it's going to be hard to keep going. So it's just a matter of choosing your heart. And so in those moments of insecurity or overwhelm or, oh my gosh, I'm in way over my head, I realize, oh, that's so perfect. I feel uncomfortable, and that means that I'm growing and I'm doing exactly what I need to do. And I honor that discomfort and I push through it. And eventually, the things that you don't feel confident doing and the things that feel overwhelming, they become second nature, and it just becomes so effortless for you. And then you level up. And then there's another thing that's uncertain and you don't feel confident in, and you get to battle that. So it's really about, I think, just honoring that discomfort and honoring your insecurities and knowing that just because you think those, it does not mean it's true. It's just that fear coming up, and it's not a reality.
Yeah. I had to chuckle when you said get a real job, because I have heard that so many times. I love my family to death. I love them. But so many people in my family, that was the first thing, is like, so when are you getting a real job?
Mm-hmm.
This is my business. This is not just, so like that totally resonates with me. And I think a lot of people that resonates with, when you decide to go off the traditional track of like a 9 to 5, you're pursuing something that, unless you've done it, most people don't have that inside knowledge of. It's a dream, and you're pursuing your dream, which is amazing. So you talk a lot about intentional living. How do you balance between content creator, entrepreneur, and staying grounded personally?
With that, living intentionally while exploring all of those different aspects of my being, I think really it's a matter of authenticity. So when I live in alignment with my purpose and with my values and with the message that I want to embody through my content, my path of entrepreneurship, and being a coach or an athlete or anything, it's really about am I doing this authentically? Because if I'm doing something that's in alignment with me, it fills me up and it adds to me. But when I do things that aren't in alignment, when I think about like, people will want this from me, or this is what they want to hear, or doing this is going to go viral, or any of those thoughts, that is what starts to drain, because it's not you, it's not authentic. And so living intentionally while pursuing all of these different avenues, it's really about listening to me, and I guess like my soul, and what that is telling me. And when I do things that are aligned, it really balances itself out. I don't need to worry about anything. And I think another really huge thing to talk about is hustle culture as well, and making sure that, of course, if you really want this, yes, you have to go all in, and you have to have the focus, and you have to sacrifice, and you have to be passionate and relentless. But at the same time, that looks very different for everybody. So what relentless looks like for me does not equal the relentless of somebody else. So you cannot compare yourself to any other entrepreneur and their path and their journey, or what their all-in looks like. And you really need to honor your rest as well, because if you just go and go and go, then creativity stops, the flow stops, your wants turn into have-tos, and you shut down and you burn out. So it's really important to both honor that all in and that passion, but make sure that it is intentional and you are putting passion into the things that fill you up and fill your audience up as well, because they feel that when you're not creating content that isn't in alignment with that, they can feel that, and it just doesn't resonate the same way. And so just honoring that balance between all in and that rest, and really knowing, okay, is today a day where I create content, or is today a day where I need to maybe focus on solitude and introspection? Because not every day is going to be a creative, exploratory day. Some days are going to be very introspective and about growing and about you. So really taking it day by day and not trying to force anything to happen because you think you should, or it's what's expected of you, or what, everyone's watching you, so you have to perform. No, nobody, no, it's you, and it's only you, and you're doing it for your audience, and it's a service to them, and that's your why. So it's not about being perfect and doing what you think you should or what you have to. It's about honoring you and your ability to move that day.
I agree. I guess with all that, community is a big factor too. What does that, mean to you in regards to context of your work, the community that you're building, and how does that all fit in?
Yeah, I think the community, really at the end of the day, that community is exactly why I'm doing this. I care so much about any and everybody that comes across my content that, gets to interact with me, and I get to interact with them. My goal and my mission really is to reach the people that need me and that need to hear my message. And so I like to think about it like a family. And, by me interacting and creating and sharing, I'm aligning with my family and I'm bringing them in. And if I can help them or support them in any way on their journey, I absolutely want to do that. And I think with me, there's just so much love when it comes to my community, my family, my audience, and I definitely hold it very close to my heart. And whenever I'm publishing something or creating something or sharing anything, I put a lot of thought into how it's going to help other people, or like what feels right, because at the end of the day, this is exactly why I'm doing it. It's for the community and for anybody that may need to hear that message from me. So it's very important to me.
Oh, that's awesome. So everything that's going on with Empowered Living, are there any exciting projects coming up or anything you're really excited about?
Yeah, so I'm definitely working on a few things. I think the biggest thing that is in the works now is a new course that I'm publishing. It's going to be a 6-module course, and essentially it revolves around the idea of the silent cost of success and healing the burnout behind the ambition. So if it's really directed towards somebody that is at that crossroads between, my job, it's been my job forever, but like I can't do it anymore, and I want to do more, but I don't know what that looks like or how to start, or like who am I? So this course, it's a 6-module course that really goes into, okay, now what? How do we heal? How do we come out of burnout? How do we heal hyperindependence and our habit of pleasing everybody else, and so that you can start fresh with a completely new mindset, so that you can absolutely conquer your business or whatever you may do moving forward. So that is currently in the works, and it's going to be live July 1st. And I really wanted to add as much value as I could to your listeners and this podcast, and to you as well. So this course is going to be $200, just standard. But to anybody who listens to your podcast, they'll get complete full access, free of charge.
Very cool. So anybody listening, take advantage, because Jasmine is amazing. I've spoken to her a couple of different times, and definitely think that this course would be amazing for you guys. So as we kind of close out, what are some of the advice that you would give somebody just starting out a soul-led business or blog?
That's such a good question. I think the advice I would give is that if you are on a path where you are leading with sole purpose and authenticity, and you are doing something that is big and new and uncertain, I think it's really important to remember that big goals don't resonate with everybody, and your why definitely needs to be louder than their judgments, and you cannot let their judgments derail you, because people are going to talk and people are going to say what they think. And at the end of the day, you got to remember, absolutely, of course they're going to say those things because they would never try to do those things. It's not their path. It doesn't resonate. You need to remember and just stay grounded in your mission and your purpose. So I think that's like the thing that I to just tell people is just to remember that just because your goals are big and they may be a little scary and a little daunting, that does not mean that you are not capable of achieving them, and to keep going regardless of what anybody tells you, because you'll never know if you don't try. And at the end of the day too, you really cannot fail. You just learn. And it's a path that keeps unraveling. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to try. And keep your why louder than the judgments of other people.
Absolutely love that. Well, thank you so much, Jasmine. I really appreciate you doing this interview with me. I love, this is the reason why I created this series, is you just being a founder and just kind of being in the thick of it. It's just great to hear these stories. And I think anybody that's inspiring to create a business, it's such an important aspect to hear from other individuals. So thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to see how the series unravels, and I feel honored to be able to be a part of it as well. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Let's Start a Business. If this episode brought value, be sure to follow the show and share it with others on the entrepreneurial journey. For tools, insights, and the latest updates, visit linkedin.com/in-megefficiencyedge. Until next time, keep building, stay focused, and remember, no one builds alone.